All right, guys, Warlock here. So, first on my side quest journey to Ripdom. There you go. But a gun show. Everyone's always like, "This guy looks like he has no." I have muscle. All right. This is a 3XL shirt. All right, so they fit me like giant blankets. All right, so video. Is she the one? Now, this one goes out to Average TMS. We'll ask the question, and I know some of you are like, "Hey, Warlock." Considering your recent videos and your past videos, what would you know about the one? Well, I do know, and I would argue that I am an expert in not the one. So let's go over not the one and being in relationships or picking them. Now, here's the thing is like, there's several versions of me that I have to take into consideration because I've changed over the years. And very first me, okay, got his heart broken, was depressed, wanted his world to end, would highly, highly advise everyone to avoid completely opening up to anybody. That guy would completely say, don't do it. It really messed me up. And it did. And it caused trust issues with my other relationships. And the other me's, though, there's differences there. And I've been in great relationships, you know, not every single one of my relationships, even though they ended catastrophically. Yes, they hurt that they ended, but I was very lucky to make very good friendships. Initially, not once it ends, but after a while, for the most part, they usually do realize, hey, wait a minute, Warlock was not that bad a guy. He was actually a pretty good guy, and they reach out or we become friends. Now, I am friends with almost all my exes. I have my ex-wife, not this recent ex, but the ex-wife before that, doesn't just completely off limits. But my other ex-wives, I could text right now and they would text me back. We're still cool. Even though initially that separation happened. Now, sometimes I have to take into consideration it's two in a relationship. I can't put all the blame on the women. Everyone has some blame, and or what was it? I'll tell the joke later. All right. So myself, I am a very, very prideful person. And the reason there's a lot of pride in me is that I grew up very poor. And when I first moved to the United States with my mom, we were broke. We were living with a family member, sharing a small house, and like literally I had to live with my with her uncle, and she would stay in the other room with her aunt. And eventually we got jobs, and you know, I was still in high school, so we got jobs, but we got our own apartments. We were sleeping on the floor, all right? So we got our own apartment. We're sleeping on the floor. We actually got these kind of futon things that would open up. They were like $40 at Marshall's, and that was our bed initially for each of us. So I grew up very poor, so I was very, very driven to never feel poor again. So, you know, when it came to work and everything and succeeding and, you know, accomplishing stuff, I've been very driven. So I approached life with a lot of drive. And by the time I was like 33, I already had like 200 employees. I was, you know, I had paid off my house already. So when I'm in a relationship, my energy isn't really matched. Now, it was matched a lot in like my second real love in life. And we both had that same energy. And that's kind of why it didn't work out for us. We both had the same energy, but going in different directions. And I'm still great friends with her, great person. But, you know, we agreed, hey, this isn't going to work out. And that's one of the things that's always kind of been an issue with me in relationships is I have a lot of drive to work. I will work double shifts. I will work my butt off to make sure that everything is taken care of, that there is nothing needed. And when that isn't reciprocated, sometimes I feel disrespected. Now, I have no problem being the provider. That's not the issue. All right. I'm not asking for monetarily. I'm asking, you know, in your life, like, are you improving yourself? If you're simply with me and there's no improvement, you're not striving to improve or do anything to make yourself better, then sometimes I'm like, hey, you know, I am prideful. You're a reflection of me. Do you not want better in life? So that has caused some friction sometimes in relationships, especially with one of my ex-wives, the third one. And beautiful girl. I mean, she was very, very, still is beautiful, but very beautiful girl. And if I can find a picture, I'll put a picture of her there. But she just wasn't as driven as me. You know, I was working full-time in law enforcement. I was pulling double shifts. I was going to college full-time. And She was working as a waitress at Hooters at the time. If I find a picture, it's probably her in a cop outfit at Hooters. But she would work part-time. I tried to enroll her as, a surprise into community college to get her going. And she got mad that I had enrolled her in community college. So, for me, my drive was, hey, you know what? I really want to be successful. I want to be taken care of. I want to take care of all her bills. And to her, it was just kind of like, I would come home and I'm like, oh, you didn't work today? She goes, nah, I wasn't feeling like it. I'm like, I just pulled a double shift. I would literally work a double shift, park at the university, okay? Because I would get off shift at 5 a.m, park at the university, nap till about 7:30. I had to be at class at 8, go to class on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8 to 4, all right? Get out, go home, take a quick nap, all right? Because I had to be back at work at 9 o'clock at night. So, I'm like, I'm working all this to secure extra money and do this, and you could work to do that, but you don't. And that kind of caused some issues because as we progressed in our relationship and as, we grew as a couple, it wasn't reciprocated on her part. And it was a little frustrating for me because I just didn't see that drive. And, eventually I just became a workaholic. I was at work. I'd rather be at work than at home. And before we knew it, it just didn't work out. Now, here's the thing. So being in a relationship or choosing to open up in a relationship, initial me would say never do that. But I've opened up, and I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, even this last one, I thought this last one that I was with was the one. I thought we were going to grow old together, and, ended up being the Whore of Babylon. And I mean that completely and totally in the biblical sense, all right? Not the literal. No, I mean it in both. And I was completely wrong, and here's the thing I'm trying to get at is the mind knows what the heart refuses to accept. And your mind knows whether or not she's the one. And a lot of times my problem, and I've been told this by female coworkers more than once, that I wear my heart on my sleeve, that I'm just, and that is a problem for me because I want to see the best in people. I do want to be, this doesn't just happen in relationships. I've been screwed over by male friends as well because I've trusted, and I'm the kind of person, again, because I grew up poor, the only thing I have is my word and my reputation, and that matters to me. And sometimes I may be stubborn about things like that, and I realize, but I'm not willing to just give as much. And I gave a lot. I've given a lot. And eventually you got to, draw the line and say, wait a minute, how much of me do I want to give up? Because this relationship is two people. And if I have to give up all that I am or that I stand for or that I believe in for this to be successful, am I really there? I do my cart around the neighborhood and I run into my neighbors a lot. And the poor guys are miserable. And that's the one thing is I would tell you, look, first off, fall in love. Do it. You're going to get your heart broken. That's fine. Worst case. All right. Best case, she's the one. You spend the rest of your lives together. It's like The Notebook. Great. Worst case, she breaks your heart. But you adapt, not like I did my first breakup, but after my second and third. All right. There's the upscaling. You level up. You live, learn, and get better. And then you realize, hey, wait a minute. This isn't where I'm going to go ahead and stop with myself, with my own self-development, with my own growth. And heartbreak has been one of the best things for me. It's been the best motivator for me, especially with, physically, but also economically. Because if I'm getting heartbroken, I'm diverting all this extra energy and heartbreak into my job. And that's one of the things that made me very successful in my career. I mean, I paid off my house within 10 years of having bought it, So I've been very, very successful. I held very high positions, and eventually I was able to go ahead and just get a job where I'm very comfortable. I could take the pay cut. I'm comfortable. I love my job. I love what I do. And I'm able to go ahead and influence people through that job and do the best I can to be the best person and show people how to be the best person. Now, my partners weren't always reciprocal with that. And some partners, I guess, I like I said, I've made really good friends. I have exes that I'm very good friends with. That might be hard to believe. Very good friends with. All right. Not that we get back together, because that's the key thing is once the relationship's over and there's been another sexual partner into it, if you are trying, I don't know why that came out weird. If you are trying to get back together, it's not the same. The connection's lost. The uniqueness of that love connection between you two is lost. All right. That bond you guys have is now lost because there's been other people involved in it. And a lot of the love is you're in love with the memories of that past relationship, not the current relationship. And for me, it's very hard for me to get over the like we may be friends, but I'm like, hey man, you moved on super quick. And then you came back and you're like, oh my God, you really are a good guy. I'm like, I can't forgive that. I'm prideful. I worked hard on me. I am a good person. I don't cheat. I work hard. I will take care of you. I will die for you. And for me, I just can't move past that. So I will never go back with an ex. All right. That's just not going to happen. Specifically because you moved on. You showed me that I really wasn't that important to you. So, and it's almost always been the case that when a breakup happens, they move on quickly. Like they're just on to the next one. But again, I've made good friendships. I'm still friends with a lot of them. The one who initially broke my heart really, really bad, who I wanted my world to end, when my last divorce had happened, I want to say 8 years ago, more than that, maybe. When my last divorce had happened, she was there for me. All right. She was. And I appreciated that. And I think she maybe wanted something more, but I could not get over the fact that I'm like, you destroyed my world. I had opened up to you. You were the first. She was the first one I had really loved. You destroyed my world. I opened up to you, and you went and got pregnant like 2 months later by someone else. And she's like, it's been 18 years. Like the kid is literally an adult now. She's like, it's been 18 years. I'm like, I can't get over that. That's just not going to happen. I'm sorry. I just can't get over that. I'm me. I'm not going to, I like me, and I'm prideful, and I am not going to insult myself by doing that. Now, some people must say, hey, you know what? That's on you. That's your decision to make. That's why it's your decision to choose whether or not you want to open up to someone. But the best thing I can tell you is it's worth the risk. Worst case scenario, you get heartbroken, all right? And you use that negative energy, that anger, that hate, that hurts for something positive. You convert it into something, all right? So 100%, go for it. Open up. Get hurt. Like it builds character. Like I do not, I can't go back and say, hey, I regret this relationship. Every single relationship I've been in has been beautiful in certain parts, and just horrible in others. All right. And from that point forward, I was able to go ahead and become the person I was every single time. And I like me. And if all that pain is what made this person that is here today, then it was worth it. Now, will I find the one? I don't know. I'm not very good at finding the one. I'm very good at finding not the one. So the likelihood is that, and as my friend made a joke, he's like, hey man, within like 3 months, you're probably going to find some cocktail waitress or something and get married anyway. So, cause I was changing all my stuff over to his name. Like, why even bother? But more than likely, it'll probably happen. I'm not a relationship expert. I'm a normal man trying to navigate life as best he can. And I'm a man whose one true virtue is that his word is worth something. All right. No one can say that I am not a man of my word. No one can say I've gone back on my word. No one can call me a weasel of a person or a bad person. I am not. And that is what matters most to me. And in relationships, I am not going to get pushed. Again, the mind knows. All right. The heart blinds it. And in my last relationship, I was erasing pictures out of my phone because I had made these videos, and all of a sudden, like I have too much, I didn't have enough memory. So I'm erasing pictures, and I had a screenshot of a text message that I had sent my ex, the recent one, Whore of Babylon, my ex, November of 2023. And I was like, why do I have this text? So I read it, and I was literally telling her, hey, you're in your 30s. You need to get your shit together. I didn't take you back willingly. So I'm assuming this was after the first time she didn't make it home. I didn't take you back willingly. I took you back with conditions, and you have yet to get a job with benefits, a job with sick leave, a job with retirement, a job with, any kind of backup plan. Nothing, it's stuff that matters. My mind knew. The text was perfectly written. I had it all laid out, and I had sent it to her. And I even took a screenshot of it, I think because my mind was like, because my dumbass heart is going to fucking cover that, and then I'm going to forget about it. And I saw it, I'm like, oh my God. It was exactly 1 year later, almost, when she did it again. And I finally said, hey, you know what? You need to work on yourself, and you're not going to do this in my house. And I put her out. So she had a whole year and didn't do shit. My brain knew it. My heart didn't. So deep down inside, you have to trust your brain. And again, the heart he's got a mind of his own. He looks for the best in people. And I try to look for the best in people. I really do. I try to give people the best benefit of the doubt, and I try to believe in them. And for the most part, people tend to prove me wrong. But I hope every single one of you is able to go ahead and find happiness. And I think ultimately, if you are a person that has the ability that I don't have to compromise and move more of yourself, then you might make a middle ground in the relationship where it's great. But like I said, I'm set in my ways, especially as old as I am already. Like, I'm already set in my ways. I ain't changing. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. It's not going to work. And, there's two people to blame in a relationship. And this is where the joke I was going to. There's two people to blame in the relationship, her and her mother. So it does bring me to a very important point. When you are looking at her, the mother is if the mother's dysfunctional, she's going to be dysfunctional. Even though having a dysfunctional mother is going to usually push them to try to be the opposite of the mother, deep down inside, they're fighting that same beast for some reason. I don't know what it is. Like my father, my birth father, not the guy who came into my life and raised me, but my birth father, was just a compulsive liar. He was an excellent salesman, compulsive liar. I am the opposite of that. I do not like lying. I hate lying. I hate liars. It just drives me insane that people will lie to your face. And I'm like, what are you doing? So I'm not that man. But again, in relationships, one thing I can always tell you is I've seen the mother. If the mother is a mess, she's going to be a mess. And that sucks. And if a father's in the picture, that matters. All right. That tends to matter. But humans are just dysfunctional, dynamic, diverse. They're a bit of everything. And you just never know what you get because you can't read people's minds. That's the problem with it is, again, that confabulation I was telling you about. You fill in those blanks that you don't know about them with what you want to know. But 18 minutes into this, my advice 100%, get your heart broken. That's the worst that can happen. All right. Growth happens from that. Don't be afraid of getting your heart broken. Don't be afraid of jumping back out there. I will eventually jump back out there. My friend knows it. He knows me. I like being in relationships. I like taking care of people. It's in my nature. I don't know what is wrong with me. I want to take care of people. I want to make sure they're protected. They're fine. They're good. And I'm not going to just be unhappy with myself because that's the way I am. That's just the way I am. Now, am I in a rush to do it? Like I said, I'm side questing. All right. We're working on it. All right. So, Warlock out. Have a great one. I will update you guys about my side quest in another video. But you all have a great night. Thank you guys for your support. Any questions, drop a comment below, and have a blessed weekend. Don't know why I said that. I became all of a sudden religiously holy all of a sudden. I was feeling one with the universe and God. I think it's because I was using the Whore of Babylon in the biblical sense, and just, part of me went to the Bible. But y'all have a great weekend. How about that? Good night, guys. I forgot the most important part. And forgive me, I just got out of the shower and noticed my beard was all fucked up. I watched the video and I forgot the most important part. Fall in love. But do not, under any circumstance, get married. Do not get married. There is absolutely no benefit to getting married. Coming from a guy who's been married several times, there is absolutely zero benefit to getting married. The only benefit to getting married, and the only reason I usually got married, was to extend my work benefits to them, to help them, because they were not getting them from their jobs. However, getting married is a nightmare if it doesn't work out, because then you have to go through the whole divorce process. And that costs a lot of money, all right? And that is money that gets thrown away, and then they're entitled to all kinds of property. So be very, very careful. See, this whole part of me, I just realized. All right, that you have to be very, very careful. And I mean, I was like, I've been through it. I've been, first two divorces, amicable, third divorce, total train wreck. And that was the one that I provided almost the most for. I provided for her while she finished her university. I got her into her career, and then she turned around and tried to get everything. And, I actually, because I went to an attorney. I don't know if I've told you guys the story, but I went to an attorney, and he's like, yeah, you got to put $5,000 down, and then it's gonna be this and that. And I'm like, I ain't paying that. This is crazy. I've worked federal prosecutions cases for the Department of Homeland Security. I am not paying a divorce attorney for civil court $5,000 down and then all this extra stuff. So I self-represented myself in court, and I was lucky. I was very, 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 very lucky that because it was just it could have been a nightmare. And if I didn't, I'm pretty sure I've told the story, but if I didn't, I lucked out, because when I showed up to court and I was self-representing, the judge that represented me in my divorce, or that was presiding over the divorce, was a history nerd. And when he found out that I also knew about history, we started talking about history in the middle of the divorce thing. We went all out about the War of 1812 for like 15 minutes, just talking about the War of 1812. You get two history nerds talking together, and then they just spit out history. And before I knew it, this judge was completely on my side, and he just, completely laid into her attorney. And she spent $10,000, $15,000 on those attorneys trying to get stuff out of me, and didn't end up getting anything but debt out of those attorneys, because I had made every single payment. That's the thing, is like, I had already owned the house before that. I had already, everything was in my name. Everything was paid out of my financial accounts. So, I lucked out. So you need to be very, very careful about that. All right. Now it's a fairy tale thing. Oh, we're going to get married. Blah, blah, blah. Getting the state involved in your relationship is the worst thing you can do, all right? Because the process to get married is super easy. I can go to the courthouse, all right? Especially in Texas, I can go to the courthouse. I can say, this is blah, blah, blah. She's my wife. And they go, okay, great. When did you guys decide you were married? You don't even have to have a judge do it. You can just go, we got married on this day, and they will give you a marriage certificate that you got married that day. And it's called the common law marriage, and it's just as valid. Or you can go to the justice of the peace and pay like $100, and then the justice of the peace goes, I now pronounce you man and wife, and husband and wife, or whatever it is. And boom, there it is. Now, divorce is going to cost you thousands and thousands of dollars. And if there's kids involved, it's even worse. Now, if you have a kid with the person, but you're not married, guess what? That's pretty easy, because the state is involved in that. The state attorney general's office takes care of child support matters. And that's, 25% of your check usually. And hey, that's your kid. More power to it. To the case. I mean, not it as a child, but you should be taking care of your child. That's your job. That's your child. And if you want custody, then, that's another thing you're going to have to fight in court. So be very careful about that. So yeah, I added a whole 4-minute disclaimer here. Fall in love, get your heart broken, but do not make the mistake of getting married. It's not a fairy tale, guys. We watch way too many fairy tales. We are not Prince Charming. They are not princesses or queens. They are just regular people like you and I. And unfortunately, marriage is probably the worst economic decision you can make. All right, guys. Warlock out for reals this time. Have a great weekend.